All right, guys, second rounders have all signed, and that is nothing burger news. Told you so. I'm gonna put one of those in there real quick. No, I won't. I won't give you a told you so. I won't say that I said all along this is not a non-issue. I won't say that there were people spreading false propaganda again in the dead time, because the dead time's over. So it's over. Let's move on. Let's move forward. Lots to look forward to at the Bears. Here's the big news today. Luther Burden signed. As we know, yesterday, the 17th, we had Shamar Turner. We had Ozzie Trapillo. They both signed. These are just Twitter snippets from all three of these. And then today on the far left there, see from Adam Schefter, Chicago Bears reached agreement today with second round pick wide receiver Luther Burden third on a fully guaranteed, so 39th pick, fully guaranteed $10.965 million contract. And it escalates for those who don't know. First year is the cheapest, and then it moves upwards each year and gets more expensive. And if they're a really, really stellar player, they actually get a little bonus. That's what happens with these rookie contracts. They get a little bit extra. Braxton Jones got it. Kyler Gordon got it before his extension. So these guys who get significant playing time, they still could make more than this 10.965. It's just, this is guaranteed, locked in. He's signed. So this is really nothing burger information. So I'm going to pair it up with 53-man roster projection. So I've been saying I'll have this for a while, and I wanted to do it before camp. And here we are the day before camp. So we are tomorrow. Tomorrow, the rookies show up on the 19th. 3 days after that, on Tuesday, the vets will show up. These guys are going to be in pads. Tomorrow, you probably won't see much in pads. I would be shocked if you do. It's going to be more in the classroom. Hey, this is how you succeed. This is how, things are going to be good for you. This is what you need to do to be successful. So that'll be the start of it. And then from there, we're going to move on, and we're going to have preseason game less than a month from now, guys. We're close. The 10th of next month, we're going to have the first game against the Dolphins. So here's the 91-man roster right now. Yes, we have 91 because we have an exemption on special teams for Tory Taylor. Now, that won't carry over into the 53-man roster, so we will only have 53 when this all cuts down on the 27th of August. So we've got a month and 9 days until the 53-man roster cuts down. Between then, you're going to have camp, and you're going to have 3 preseason games. So we're going to have a lot of excitement to go through until we get there. So let's run through this. This is going to be our 53-man roster projection. I'm just going to go position by position, give my input, and hey, I'm not professing I'm going to be completely right on all this, guys. This is one of those things you have no clue until these guys perform in camp. This is for fun. So with that, I want to see your guys' projections in the comments. I want to see what you guys think on these key positional battles, especially places like running back. There's going to be someone somewhere on this roster that someone's going to be surprised made this roster. So it's going to be a lot of fun to go through. I'm not going to scroll through this super slow, but I'm also not going to take forever on it. So here's quarterbacks and running backs first, and this is my projection for the 53-man roster, all right? First, Caleb Williams, and I do think we're carrying 3 on the roster. Case Keenum is a player coach, in my opinion. I don't think they really want him to see the field. They still want to develop Tyson Bagent. You never know what happens. Who knows if Caleb Williams gets injured? That is me knocking on wood. Game 2 into the season, I don't think they want to rely on Case Keenum. I also don't think they want to rely on Tyson Bagent. But of the two, they're trying to develop Tyson Bagent still. They see some potential in him long term. He's going to be a restricted free agent at the end of this year. We'll obviously re-sign him to be the backup again for at least one more year because it's super cheap to keep him on the restricted free agency. But I think we're going to go with 3. And the emergency rule would still be in place. You wouldn't dress Case Keenum, because you can only dress 47. But he could still be on the sideline dressed for an emergency. If Caleb went down and Tyson went down on the same game, then Case could come into the game. All right, the running back room. My first controversial take. It seems obvious that Travis Homer would make this roster with his special teams ability and how well he's played on special teams. I think Ian Wheeler, as long as he comes back healthy from injury here in camp and he looks good, because last year, guys, I don't know if you remember the 2-touchdown game he had. When he came in, he was averaging 8 yards per attempt in that, and he looked good. So Ian Wheeler, as long as he comes back healthy, I can see him taking that 4th roster spot and primarily being on special teams for now, giving an option along with Devin Duvernay and Josh Blackwell to be able to have return duties, and if nothing else, to be able to block, because he is one of those that block and rock. Ian Wheeler knows how to block, so he's not going to have an issue with the coaching staff. Some of these running backs don't. Kyle Monangai absolutely does. If you haven't seen the video we did on Kyle Monangai, dude, he's lifting guys off the ground. He knows how to get leverage. So Kyle Monangai, Ian Wheeler, both good at blocking. Roshan Johnson, okay. I'd like to see them use him more on outside gap schemes. But these are my 4 running backs that I think are making the roster. DeAndre Swift, Kyle Monangai, Roshan Johnson, Ian Wheeler. All right, moving on to the offensive line. We got a lot of options here, and I don't think it's as complicated as people think it's going to be. The one shocker I think people are going to have, I got to move me to this side. There's my offensive lineman, is Travis Homer being cut and Ryan Bates being cut. So those are my two shockers. So I put them at the bottom. So don't look at that and say they're making the 53-man roster. I should have put a big cut sign here, but I didn't. Those are my two shockers that I think people are going to be surprised that don't make the roster. Here's my reasoning. Ryan Bates, even when he played last year, even when he played with the Bills, he has not got significant snaps, and it's not like he's playing out of this world special. Bill Murray has shown a couple flashes of being special. Ozzie Trapillo obviously competing with Braxton Jones for the starting job. I'm not saying he's not going to make it. I'm not going to try to predict that. I'm predicting who's going to be on the 53-man roster. Luke Newman has talked about being flexible at center or guard, but then you might be saying, okay, well, you have Bill Murray and Luke Newman. I don't love all those options at guard. If it got down to press comes to shove, Kieran Amagaji could slide in and play guard as well. I don't think that's as big an issue as people realize. So Kieran Amagaji could play tackle, could play guard. Luke Newman can play center, can play guard. Bill Murray can play guard. You usually don't see a team carry 10, and especially when you have this stacked of a starting 5 right there, Braxton Jones or Ozzie Trapillo, Joe Tooney, Drew Dahlman, Jonah Jackson, Darnell Wright. You're not having that big of a need to carry those backups as desperately. So I do think we only carry 9 on the offensive line. That's my projection so far. All right. We're going to get to the receivers and tight ends. We're going to have to make me smaller here. Burp. I've already shown some videos on some of these. I don't think this is going to be as complicated as people think, but I am making a bold one that I'm going to say right now, I'm probably wrong on this one. Very rarely do teams carry 4 tight ends on their roster. I've got the Bears keeping 4 tight ends with Joel Wilson with the praise that they got from Ben Johnson for Joe Wilson. They praised him big time. Now, if he can show up to camp and show he's valuable on special teams or valuable on blocking, I don't see a way where they let him go. Maybe they even let Durham Smythe go. Now, I'm not projecting that to happen. I think they'll carry all 4 of these guys because they're valuable on special teams. And with Ben Johnson's offense, the motion that he uses, the 12 personnel that he uses, I think that is valuable to him with these big size tight ends, what he could do with them more than a Tyler Scott. So I've done the video of Joel Wilson versus Tyler Scott. I think that could be very, very valuable. Devin Duvernay, obviously, for his return ability. Luther Burden, Olamide Zaccheaus in the slot, and Rome Odunze, DJ Moore in the Y and the X, or the Z and the X. So this is my offense. This is the 53-man roster offense. That's 25 guys. That's pretty typical. 25 on offense, 25 on defense, 3 on special teams to fill in your 53-man roster. So here's my offense. 3 quarterbacks, 4 running backs, 5 wide receivers, 4 tight ends, 9 linemen. That's what I've got for the offensive side on the 53-man roster. Again, put it down in the comments. If you guys agree with this, don't agree with this, I don't even care. Like, we can go back and forth. We can debate. None of us know. So this is more of a hypothetical fun video. And right before camp ends, after the hype of a lot of these guys, we're going to do another one of these where maybe the goalpost is shifted and maybe, Tyler Scott makes this roster. Maybe he shows up at camp. Somebody, how can we let him go? And maybe someone like Ryan Bates shows up to camp and we can't let him go either. So we'll do another one of these adjusted right before actual preseason game or before the 53-man roster cut down. All right. To the defense. Here's the defensive line. We've gone over this a couple times. I really do think it comes down to cutting this down to 9. Will they keep an extra defensive tackle? Will they keep an extra defensive end? Which one will it be when it comes down to that? And here's my projection. For the defensive ends, I've got 5 being kept. And Daniel Hardy, especially because they've talked about bringing him back into coverage, dropping him into coverage, and the value he can have in Dennis Allen's defense. He uses a lot of defensive backs. And if Daniel Hardy can play on the line and get the pressure he got last year, high PRP, high pass rush win rate, and still be able to have his value on special teams, I don't think there's a way Daniel Hardy doesn't make the roster because of his special teams ability alone. And I think Dominic Robinson, with what they've talked about with him too, same thing, Ben Johnson talking about Dom Rob, I think he makes this roster as well. So I've got 4 defensive tackles, Grady Jarrett, Jervon Dexter, Shamar Turner, and Andrew Billings, and I've got 5 defensive ends. All right, we move forward to the linebackers and the nickelbacks. Nickelbacks makes it super easy. Linebackers, will they keep 5 or 6? And I think linebackers, same thing, just too valuable too valuable on special teams. So I've got 6 linebackers being kept and then only the 2 nickelbacks, which is pretty normal, but 5 linebackers instead of 6 or 6 instead of 5. And I think they're too valuable here. So I got Tremaine Edmonds, TJ Edwards, Ruben Hippolyte, Noah Sewell, Swayze Bozeman, and Amen Ogbogmamiga. Both of them super valuable on special teams, same as Noah Sewell. So I do have us keeping 6 linebackers because of their value on special teams. All right, last but not least, cornerbacks and safeties. And I've already made a video on this one. I'm going to jump right into it. I do think we cut one of the safeties for long-term longevity. Tysheem Johnson, I've got making this roster as the 53rd man. I've got him beating out Simone Biles' husband. So I've got him beating Jonathan Owens. And I can see Major Burns beating Elijah Hicks too out, but I've really grown to like Elijah Hicks, so I'm not going to do that one. So Jaquan Brisker, Kevin Byard, Tysheem Johnson, and Elijah Hicks at the safety positions. And at cornerbacks, I got Jalen Johnson, Zay Frazier, Tyreek Stevenson, and Terrell Smith. And I think Terrell Smith said this all offseason, I think he could end up Tyreek Stevenson. I don't know if he will at the beginning of the year, but I think that could end up happening. So here's 25 on defense. So what I've got is my 25 on defense. Montez Sweat, Austin Booker, defensive ends. Defensive ends down the list, defensive tackles, nickelbacks, 2 safeties, 2 strong safeties, 2 free safeties, 4 corners, and 6 linebackers. And then last but not least, I should have said that before, special teams, you've got Cairo Santos, Jonathan Kim. I think Santos sticks around. I think Scott Daly and Luke Elkin, I've already predicted this one. I think Luke Elkin, because of his tie to Torrey Taylor, being on that 3-year UDFA contract, I think he does upend Scott Daly. So those are my 3 on the special teams. Cairo Santos, Torrey Taylor, Luke Elkin. So here we run through it again. Here's the offense 25, defense 25, and special teams 3. All right, quick hitter. We went through it quick, but if you guys want to see some of the other in-depth stuff of why I'm saying we'll keep some of those guys and others, I've made some of those videos over the last couple weeks on the safety position, on the running back, tight end, wide receiver position. Check those videos out. I do appreciate you guys tuning in. Camp is tomorrow. It starts. I'll bring you whatever news we have. We're back, baby. We're back with all of this. So I appreciate you guys tuning in. If you don't mind hitting the like button, and I went through that fast. If you don't mind hitting the like button, if you don't mind subscribing, if you haven't done that, I appreciate you guys tuning in. Until next time, da Bears and bear down.